So how's your boy going to tie in skiing as a prepper skill? This is Tim from skirexmedia.com once again, and I'm thinking most of you can figure out how they tie together on your own, but I think I want to talk about it anyway. First, I want to say that I am down with prepper lifestyle. I love it, even though I don't participate in it probably as much as I should. I've had a long running joke about how I'm not even prepared for a skinned knee, but I do like it. I like a lot of what I see coming out of the prepper community. There's a lot of good information out there. And unlike anyone else, I find it on like social media. I follow a few preppers on social media, as Skirex Media even, on Twitter. But I watch videos on YouTube. I read different websites devoted to prepping. And I'm not just talking about doomsday preppers. I really did like that show. That's how I learned about prepping. That's how I learned about the community. And there was a lot of good information coming out of that too. But for the most part, the community isn't just people thinking that the world is going to end. It just means, a lifestyle in which you live prepared, and that could be for anything, even small things. For me, it would probably be good to be prepared, be prepared for wicked winter weather that can knock out the power around here or something like that, since I live in northern New England. Now, the severity of that could be anything from just a little bit of time with no power to actual natural disaster type destruction. You never know which it might be, which is why it's good to be prepared and why the prepper community is kind of important but kind of awesome anyway. So that brings us to how skiing would tie into that situation. Now, if you want to talk about a full prep for something simple or even an SHTF scenario, we can do that. It would just be for a different time and probably not on Skirex Media. Unless I start Skirex Media Prepper Division, but I don't think I will. I might. You let me know. What do you think about that idea? Skirex Media Prepper Division. Could be something there. But anyway, what I'm going to be talking about is the general use of skiing as part of prepping, as part of any one person's preps. And for skiing to be useful, it would obviously be for mobility. You see, one of the things that a person can read about on the prepper sites is the need for mobility and the different ways one can go about achieving that. You see a lot from building full-size bug-out vehicles to bug-out bicycles to just having a bug-out bag on one's back so you can walk out of a situation. I have friends who have bug-out bags in their car. Each of those has their advantages, the last two being that they don't rely on gas, which in the right scenario could be hard to come by. And, that doesn't even have to be an SHTF scenario either. While I was living in New Jersey, we had to deal with Hurricane Sandy. Right after that storm, it was hard to get gas. There were a few times that the lines at the gas stations looked similar to the gas shortages of the 70s. You just couldn't get the stuff for days. So having a way to get around that doesn't depend on fuel is a wonderful thing and definitely something to think about from a prepper point of view, which is something they point out on their websites and in their videos. With that said, skiing would work out well for that endeavor, especially if you're a freeheeler or a Nordic skier. Now, downhill technique and ability could absolutely come in handy, but let's be honest. Having the ability to go uphill or keep moving on a flat would be more beneficial. For adding snowboarding to prepping, that means getting a split board. Now, one could argue the point of why learn cross-country or telemark skiing when they could just use snowshoes. Now, it's true that snowshoes do have a little bit less of a learning curve, but there's still techniques that have to be learned. I'm pretty sure a person could just strap them onto their feet and start walking, which you could actually do with cross-country skis too, if you really needed to. But ask anyone who's used either of them, and there's techniques to learn that makes them either more effective or more fun. And I know this isn't about fun, but, it would be more effective to actually learn how to do it. That's actually one of the first rules of preparation and prepping, to make sure you know how to use the equipment. I mean, you should know that if you just go out for a backcountry day of skiing. But all that aside, the thing about snowshoeing and cross-country skiing is that they are both pretty physically demanding. But I'm pretty sure you'll get further with less effort on skis than with snowshoes because of that sliding, less friction. I mean, if I'm wrong and someone out there wants to correct me, that's fine, please do. But I'm pretty sure you'll just get further on skis with the same amount of effort than you can using snowshoes, which gives the skis the clear advantage. I mean, but you could combine the two. I mean, you could have snowshoes and combine with a pair of downhills or your snowboard, ride down your downhill. Then when you get to the downhill and have to go out in the flat or back uphill, pull your skis off, put them on your back, put your snowshoes on. And speaking of putting them on your back, skis aren't that heavy, which is another great advantage that they have. If you do find yourself needing to walk, they aren't that hard to carry, especially if your backpack can do that. I know mine can. And they don't take up much room. They're easy to store and easy to carry, so if you are using a vehicle in that situation, it's still easy to get around with them. Like, say you have a snowmobile and you still have gas, or you're able to get gas, you can keep the skis with you and they won't take up much room. So you don't have to give up other supplies that would go, in your vehicle. All in all, it really has a lot of usefulness for the prepper life. The stuff I just went over was very quick, very basic, very general. So one would have to tailor it to their area. For me, my gear would be tailored to skiing the East, which it already is. I mean, I might have to deal with some deep, good powder days because of some kind of super blizzard or some disaster that has to do with snow. But a few days after that, it's all going to be crusty, icy, shitty snow. So I would tailor my stuff to do that. If you live in the Rockies where the deep stuff is more likely, you'll have to tailor your gear to deal with that, and so on, depending upon where you live. But as a way to be mobile in a disaster or a grid down or any kind of scenario like that, skis and skiing and snowboarding, all these skills and equipment would come in handy. One of the things that might turn some prepping people off of this idea is the cost. Prepping in general does come with some cost depending upon how you do it, and most people want to know how to do it and minimize the cost. Personally, I'd say don't be afraid to use gear. I mean, just as an example, I could walk from where I'm sitting right now down to a thrift store that does have used ski gear and probably come out pretty cheap. I mean, you don't have to have $1,000 skis with $300 bindings, $400 boots, or what have you. I mean, if you find that you like it and you just want to do it for fun, which is what I and most of the people who are going to be listening to this do. I mean, that's our passion. That's that's how we spend the winter. If you find yourself getting into that, then absolutely get better equipment, pricier equipment, as your skills improve. But then that goes with anything. Even if you mountain bike in the summer or if you're hiking, you could start with a cheap set of $10 boots and then at some point work your way up $100, $200, $300, depending on what you do and the kind of skills you achieve. But start out cheap and work your way up. I mean, that's probably what I'm going to do myself. As I said, I'm not the best prepper, even though I have a lot of interest in it. But I'm going to get there. Honest, I really am. So if I add this to the prepping skills, well, I already have the skills, but if I, add this to the equipment that I have, I'm going to start cheap. So if you are a prepper and you agree with this or you disagree with this, let me know and we can revisit the topic. Like I said, I'm an amateur prepper. I just have an interest in it, but I am going to start getting better at it. But if you do agree, disagree, or have any other kind of thought on it, that would actually be kind of fun to talk about, I think. I am looking for other ways or any ways to get others involved with the podcast here. So I think that could be fun if we want to talk about skiing as a prepper skill and the equipment involved. But I also think this rant, the Ski Rex Media rant cast, I think this is a good one for today. So thank you for listening once again, and I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the podcast, no matter how you listen to it. Today, as a matter of fact, I found out that I'm now listed with iHeartRadio. So if you would prefer to use their website or apps to listen to the podcast, you totally can. Podcast is also available through skirexmedia.com. It's right on the front page. It's available through Spotify, I post every episode on YouTube as well, and there's the Buzzsprout site as well. So there's just all kinds of different ways to find this podcast and listen to it. You can choose which one works for you. You can also go to skirexmedia.com for near-daily written content ranging from news stories to dumb blog posts to just me pointing out a video I saw online. All kinds of different stuff there, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. Go to either of those, search for Skirex Media, and you'll find me. All of this is also in the description, so don't hesitate to take a look down there too. Please like, share, subscribe, follow, tell your friends, tell your family, do whatever you got to do. But please share the Skirex Media experience, skirexmedia.com. Once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for checking us out, and I'll talk to you all again later.